Earlier this week, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum signed a law to provide robust protections for unborn babies, joining Georgia and Florida as the states are enacting some really strong pro-life legislation. And this is encouraging. The battle is going on in the states. Of course, we're advocating that there's still work to be done here in our nation's capital. But this is what our system allows. And I'm excited about this. This is good because states are challenging states to protect unborn children. Well, joining me now is the sponsor of this great piece of legislation, North Dakota State Senator Janne Myrdal. She represents the 19th district of the state. She's the Senate leader on life issues. Senator, welcome to Washington Watch.
Well, thank you, Tony. It's an honor to be on with you here, and we are celebrating our governor siding with us on this and standing for life in North Dakota. For sure.
Well, we are too, and let me commend you and congratulate you on getting this piece of legislation through, strongest in the nation. Describe for our viewers and listeners what this law does.
Well, what it actually does, Senate Bill 2150, it protects life from conception. We have the only exceptions are life of the mother throughout the pregnancy, of course, and there are rape and incest exceptions up until about 6 weeks. Now, these are laws that were actually on the books for about 20 years in North Dakota, but of course held hostage by Roe, as you well know. And when the Dobbs decision came, we went to work along with a lot of pro-life organizations here in North Dakota. We went along pre-session here and said, okay, let's now clean up our century code and our abortion language, and let's undergird what's been since before statehood in North Dakota. We've been a pro-life state. And so it protects women and children, and we've also done several other laws that are giving alternatives to abortion programs and undergirding women after those babies are born as well.
Now, you mentioned it kind of clears up the language. You were way ahead of the rest of the nation in many ways because you had, I think, a trigger ban or a trigger law that was in fact in place back in 2007, and then you had the heartbeat bill, if I'm not mistaken, back to 2013. So in the wake of Dobbs, this gave you the ability to do these things, and so this is just going back and kind of arranging those as they need to be under the current jurisprudence. Is that correct?
That is correct. And currently, of course, we were also in a lawsuit as soon as Dobbs came and our laws became effective. The abortion industry sued the trigger bill. The heartbeat ban is at the Eighth Circuit Court, but they have no authority to really not let it stand. So we figured let's get ahead of the curve here. And so we've been in lawsuits back and forth for the last 8-10 months. Our Supreme Court, strangely, a few weeks ago, found a right in our Constitution to abortion and the word health, and they decided that on a 1914 medical journal, apparently. So not very, very, very much jurisprudence, if you will, Tony. But so we said, no, we're going to pass this law. We're going to make it effective immediately with an emergency clause. So immediately when the governor signed this is a new law, a new chapter. We just consolidated it, worked with the medical associations, and the only ones that opposed this was Planned Parenthood, and you know why. Yeah. That's a billion-dollar abortion industry. So
you're absolutely right. So Senator Myrdal, what would you say to your fellow state legislators in other states who might be hesitant to move forward with such, strong protections for the unborn?
I would say be bold. We are on the right side of this issue, right? You and I know that. I think this is the time. And like I've told the governor here, I've told lawmakers here, if we don't get this one right, it doesn't matter how much oil we pump or how much agricultural product we produce in North Dakota, and we're great at both, right? Because if we don't get this fundamental thing of the protection of the unborn, which is the civil rights issue of our generation, if we don't get that right, God's not going to bless our states and bless our economy. So be bold. I mean, what do you have to lose? And if anybody wants to know what we did here, feel free to contact me or you or anyone. This is the opportunity. This is the season to do what is right for the unborn and for women.
I could not agree with you more, Senator. I mean, we've been entrusted this moment, and we have an opportunity to move forward. And again, I commend you for taking that and not sitting there contemplating it, waiting, but moving boldly immediately when you're given the opportunity. And I hope other states will follow your lead and do the same thing. What kind of response have you gotten from your constituents?
Tremendous response. When I ran about 7 years ago now for my first term, I was honest. I'm pro-life. That's non-negotiable. So I don't even get phone calls to the contrary from my district. And we are a pro-life state. And I think I've said it for ages. I grew up in Europe, a little bit more liberal, but I said it for ages. Women are strong. We've gone through, reproductive hardships, if you will, and blessings for thousands of years. But we're strong enough. We don't need to kowtow to the abortion industry and kind of lower ourselves to the lowest common denominator and kill our offspring and kill our children in order to be successful or to have a good life, or even in crisis, Tony. Honestly, I think the abortion industry belittles women. And that's one of the messages I've said over and over again. Let's be strong, walk out the door, and we can handle that. And then let the community, the village, if you will, I hate to use that word, and the churches and the state come around those people in crisis and walk through it together. We can do this.
Well, Senator, thank you for being an example of that strength and taking bold, courageous stands for the unborn. We appreciate it, and we're grateful for your leadership.
Well, we're grateful for all you do, too, in your organization. God bless.